Our next guest is a prominent New York physician and author. He is affiliated with Mount Sinai Hospital and has identified 9 dangerous, highly addictive carbohydrates that stimulate the pleasure centers in the brain. Ingesting these carbs makes it almost impossible to eat in moderation and control your weight. Today, to discuss the latest book, The Addictocarb Diet, and give us tips on how to manage these cravings, we welcome Dr. Bruce Roseman.
Thank you.
How are you?
Very nice to be here.
So it's the new year. Everyone is on a health kick. I know I am. I have a Fitbit. Me and my husband are saying we're going to eat healthy. You know, we want to make sure and stay in shape. But I love carbs. What do we do?
Well, first of all, you're part of the mainstream. There was a recent Gallup poll that said everybody wants to lose weight. We know that everybody wants to lose weight. The issue is how can it be done? Personally, I've lost 70 pounds.
Wow.
3 times.
Wow. Are you serious?
Yes. Okay. And what I found out after the first 2 times is that when you finish your diet and you've lost 70 pounds, you start a new diet, and that is the gaining your weight back diet. Okay. The point of my book, and I am not inventing the wheel here, the data is there. MRI scans of the brain have shown that eating addictocarbs, or what I refer to as addictocarbs, is just as addicting as heroin.
What?
If you hold up, and I have in my office, I have a picture of 2 MRI scans, one of a heroin addict and one of somebody eating addictocarbs. They look exactly the same.
So what specific foods are we talking about here? Are we talking about all carbs, or are there specific carbs that we're talking about?
Absolutely. No, we're talking about specific foods.
Okay.
Carbs are not the enemy.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with carbs. I eat a high-carb, high-calorie diet, and I have kept the weight off for 14 years.
Congratulations.
Okay. It's not that hard, okay? Number 1 and number 2, and I talk about it in the book, is no bread, no potatoes, no exceptions, period.
Bruce, can I tell you something?
Yes.
I'm addicted to carbs.
I know you are. You and everyone else in the United States. You know, but, you know, you're going to have to give up something if you want to lose weight. You're just going to have to do it. That's just the way it works, okay? Now, can you give up 2 things? I think you can.
Okay.
Just 2 things. And I make it easy for people. I have these shakes that people do. You know, you have, once you realize it's an addiction, you have to give up the carbs the same way you would give up heroin.
I feel like I need to be a part of some program or something.
Well, you got it.
Like a, like a support group.
Well, first of all, everything is in the book. Second thing is I'm on Facebook, the Addictocarb Diet on Facebook.
There's our support group right there.
There is support. There are people that have lost. I just a very nice woman just wrote in the other day. It's been 23 weeks and 22 pounds, or maybe it was 22 pounds and 23 weeks. I don't remember. You know, people. I give recipes and things like that. In the book, I explain how you can beat the addiction. Number 1, you have to go through withdrawal. Withdrawal is bad.
So what are we doing?
Well, you go on shakes.
Okay.
Basically what you do is you stuff as much fruit as you possibly can into a shake with a flavoring powder. I use Slim Fast. I like the taste.
Okay.
My nurse uses something else, and she's lost a ton of weight, and she looks terrific. You know, other people use other things. They sell these flavoring powders. They're very low carb. They're low glycemic index. You know, and then you drink that for 3 days. After 3 days, you have beaten the addiction. Then you have to learn how to get along with on your own, knowing that you have an addiction. Okay, for instance, no, you can't have potatoes. But if you look at the Facebook page, I have a picture of a loaded sweet potato skins that will knock you out.
Well, how are we talking about regular white potatoes?
No, sweet potatoes.
Sweet. Okay, now I do sweet potatoes.
Sweet potatoes are fine. You can eat all. They don't stimulate the addiction center of the brain. They don't raise your blood sugar. Sweet potatoes are fine.
Okay.
You can have all the sweet potatoes you want. There are certain types of pasta you can have. You can have Jerusalem artichoke pasta, for instance. Well, which doesn't, by the way, come from Jerusalem, nor is it made out of artichokes. Okay. But you can have things like that. You can use a thing called Dreamfields, because they've managed to come up with a way so that the carbs are not absorbed, you know. And then there are ways there are all sorts of things you can do with sandwiches. For instance, in the book I have a whole section about going out to fast food restaurants. You know, believe it or not, McDonald's is now testing sweet potato fries, and if you go into Burger King and you tell them that you want the low-carb option, they will make you a Burger King burger, you know, wrapped in lettuce, and you can eat it just like a regular, and you don't have to have the fries, and you don't have to have the bread. and you are not going to gain weight.
Yeah, I definitely see how the fast food restaurants are starting to adopt more healthier options because they see that's what people want. And of course, they don't want to lose the business. But without giving away too much, just give me like a daily, like what a day can look like with breakfast, lunch,
well, first of all,
dinner.
I don't mind giving it away. That's fine with me, okay?
So what can I, if I'm starting
I'm on a mission to help people. I'm not on a mission to sell as many books as I can. Okay?
So breakfast. What would breakfast look
I'll
like?
tell you what I had for breakfast.
Okay.
Oatmeal.
Oatmeal is always good.
Covered in fruit. And what I use for a sweetener, and I have a section in the book where I talk about what I use for sweeteners, I use pear sauce or applesauce.
Really? So honey or even brown sugar?
You cannot have honey, no. You can't have sugar. Now, let's face it, everybody's going to fall off their diet. I mean, this is no big secret. You're going to fall off your diet. I have patients that come in all the time. The brother-in-law is coming into town. We're going out to dinner. Whatever. My answer to them is this. Before you go out to dinner, have a shake.
Okay.
Have an Addictocarb shake, okay? When you get to dinner, they serve an 8-layer chocolate cake. Fine. Go ahead and eat it. But do not have any bread or potatoes with your meal. No bread, no potatoes, no exceptions, okay? You're going to be okay. And then the next morning, you have another shake. Have fruit. You can eat all the fruit you want.
So fruit seems to be one of your secret ingredients.
Fruit is a secret ingredient. There's absolutely no question. You can eat all the fruit you want. Look, the bottom line is, I did a show the other day where the guy said to me, but I like to have my bagel in the morning, so I just have half a bagel. Well, let me just be clear. You cannot have 1/2 of 1/4 of 1/8 of 1/10 of a bagel in the morning. And the reason is because if you have that, it's going to stimulate the addiction center. You're going to be hungry later. And if anybody thinks that you can eat a bucket of strawberries this big, and that's as bad for you as eating one slice of bread. Well, let's face it, the bucket of strawberries has lots of sugar, it has lots of carbs, but it is not going to stimulate the addiction center. You are not going to get fat on it. But if you have 1/4 of a bagel, boom, you're going to start to gain the weight back. And that's why these other diets don't work.
You're talking to New Yorkers, Bronxites. Most of the time we have our trucks, we're running out in the morning, we just grab that bagel, get our cup of coffee or tea, and we're out the door. What about those who say, you know what, okay, you know what, I'll just skip breakfast. That's not good either, right? It's important
you can skip breakfast. No problem.
Oh yeah, so I thought it was that you always have to make sure and eat then better than
you can skip.
Skipping a meal.
The reason that people are starving for breakfast, and they're going to eat a lot more, is they eat Addictocarbs the day before. They wake up in the morning, they're starving because they've set off the addiction center in their brain. If you haven't eaten Addictocarbs the day before, you're not hungry for breakfast, don't eat. You should never eat when you're not hungry. Okay. And I understand that. Both of my sons went to school right across the street here, you know, and they went to the trucks out there, you know, and I know what they serve on those trucks, and they serve Addictocarbs. But no, you can skip breakfast. There's no problem. I often skip breakfast. It doesn't matter. If you eat an Addictocarb for breakfast, you're going to be hungry all day. If you don't, if you can have a cereal, you can have eggs, you can have bacon, you can have, you know. Now, I don't personally eat bacon because I don't think it's all that good for you. I don't even have milk. I usually use almond milk in my shakes.
So do I. I love almond
milk. You know, I mean, this book is not about nutrition. It's about losing weight, because what studies have shown is everybody wants to lose weight. My father died at the age of 52. There was no reason for it. He could have lived. And every time I have a patient that dies young and they leave a young family behind, it reminds me of my family, and I think what a waste it has to be. Nobody has to die from it. You can lose the weight. Just give up bread and potatoes, and the other Addictocarbs I talk about also.
Besides fruits, what are other superfoods that you like to suggest?
Well, when you say superfoods, I mean, I love sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes are great, and fruit. Those are the two big ones. But there are other things you can eat. I mean, breadless sandwiches. You know, avocados.
I will put avocado on every single thing. Anyone who knows me knows that I love an avocado, a Haas avocado, not a Florida avocado.
Well,
small avocado.
I'm not as well schooled as you. I mean, to me, an avocado is an avocado. I go there, I pick it up. You know, avocado. You know, so yeah, avocados are fine. I have a thing on the Facebook page. You know, the Addictocarb diet on Facebook, where I talk about the 10 healthiest foods. Okay. Coincidentally, none of them are Addictocarbs.
And what are those?
Are apples and bananas and avocados and oatmeal and berries of all kinds. In fact, you know, there's a very interesting study. I'll have some berries with that burger that show that if you have strawberries, when you eat a hamburger, it decreases the lipids in the bloodstream.
So we'll have to try that.
Anytime you have, I'll have some berries with that burger, and that's going to help to keep your lipids down.
So if you go to McDonald's, you could just Instead of putting those berries in my parfait, just put it right in my burger.
You got it.
No bread.
You got it.
Where can we find your book?
You can find my book everywhere. It's in all the bookstores, on Barnes & Noble, it's in Amazon, it's everywhere.
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Enjoyed it. We have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll tell you all about events geared toward community engagement in celebration of Martin Luther King Day.